there is a place for Jews to go. They will no longer be rounded up and slaughtered like that calf because they have Israel. They have the IDF there is to protect them. And this is something unique and special. This is what it meant to transform. And that's why that piece of Yiddish literature was so essential. And that's the transformation that is spoken about. The deal of the three oaths was broken. For one way or another, it is dead. The pacifism of the Talmud is gone, but it still exists as part of our tradition. So this new transformation has come amongst us Jews. Now the next lecture that I'm going to do, which I'm sure you guys won't be here, but it'll be in the fall, where I'll talk about the new American Jew. Where does this apply to us American Jews who still live within a society, but are we still viewed as subjects of the society, or are we a part of the society? That's for another lecture. But for this lecture, the transformation has now happened. The state of Israel was born. It is born out of military victory. It was born out of military success. And it was created a new Jewish world. So now comes, where do we stand as Jews today? What does it mean to be a Jew today in this new military aspect of ourselves? Now, what I have for you today are poems that were written by Israeli soldiers to talk about what it means to now have an army again. What does it now mean to have an army that is powerful, that is strong? So you have, this was written in 1967, which is a criticism of the coming militancy of the Israeli society that is coming. It's written by Hanoch Levin. It's called You and I and the War to Come. Now, it actually rhymes better in Hebrew, but I'm going to read it in English. It says, when we go walking, there are the three of us, you, me, and the war to come. When we sleep, there are the three of us, you, me, and the war to come. You, me, and the war to come, the war that is coming for good. You, me, and the war to come, bringing eternal rest. When we smile in a loving moment, the war to come smiles with us. While we wait in the delivery room, the war to come waits with us. You, me, and the war to come, the next war which will bring us good. You, me, and the war to come, creating eternal rest. When they knock on the door, there are three of us. You, me, and the war to come. And when all of this is finally over, there will again be three of us. The war to come, you, and the photograph. You, me, and the war to come, the war that is coming for good. You, me, and the war to come, creating eternal rest. Now this is something, this is written in 67. This is around the time of the great military victory. But there were still 200 Jews who died, 200 soldiers who died in that great military victory. In this last campaign with Gaza, there were 56 Israeli soldiers who died. Now you look at the imagery that's here. Now in Hebrew it's very powerful. It says, Ve'ani be'hamilchama ha'ba'a be'hamilchama haba'a aleinu letova et ve'ani hamilchama haba'a shetimseh menucha v'nechuna. It's a beautiful poem. And this was a very controversial one. This took place in 67, but this is saying that there will always be a war to come. We will always have it. And I looked at this when I did my last trip, and I will close with this. And I have another great poem here, which is also criticism of the coming militancy in Israel and the winter here, is that I was looking at my friend. I first moved to Israel in 1991. I know she lived through it. Through all my trips to Israel, I know I feel so bad because my mom's here. And this last one was a tough one because it was during the war. I like it. I always like the excitement. There was been a couple rough times I was there in 2001, which was really scary. This one was not scary. It was actually kind of exciting because I got to go to bomb shelters and meet interesting people. And trust me, the falafel tastes incredible after you come out of a bomb shelter. It is, and I'll just give a little side surreal moment. When I was away, my sweet, incredible wife. So she had to look after the kids alone. So she was dropping them off at camp, and then she would pick them up after work, and she was an incredible person. If you ever see her, she deserves extra hugs. But what happened is my second week there, my son Alex got tonsillitis from camp. It happens. He's 3 years old. And he had to go spend a night in the hospital. was incredibly traumatic. So I'm on the phone with my wife, talking to the doctor. He's explaining why they have to go to the hospital because my son won't take his antibiotics. They just need to get fluids in him. And so I'm freaking out. So I'm talking to the doctor. I'm saying, "Say, what's going on? Give me the situation." And then an air raid siren goes out. I'm saying, "Oh, an air raid siren." And so my wife gets on the phone and says, "Shut up and get into a shelter." I'm saying, "I want to hear what's going on with my son." She's saying, "Just get the hell out of here, call us back." So that to me was sort of, I mean, that was what this trip was about. And it was because I was more concerned about her. Meanwhile, she's hearing sirens going off in the background, which was kind of, it was fine. I got out, I ate a falafel, I saw the big Iron Dome.
Easy to say now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting because you saw the little area where the Iron Dome hit the missile. It's quite amazing. But what was something very fascinating, which I always think about because I love Israel. I always think of going and moving there. I know it would drive her crazy. Because I want my kids to experience a Jewish life, to have Jewish friends. And it's a real Jewish country. And that's what's so beautiful about the place. And I have friends who are there. But what was different this last trip for me was when I was there my final week, I rented a car because I go to the Dead Sea and I visit my friends in Modin. I had this wonderful time. My friend Beth, she gave me a call and said, "Could you give us a ride to the Dead Sea?" Because she wanted to treat her daughter to 2 days at a very nice resort on the Dead Sea because she was going to the army that Thursday. And so I picked her up, and they were all really cute because they used the same time going, getting a bus because I was going there anyways. And they're talking, and I looked at my friend Beth as she was looking at her daughter, her 18-year-old daughter. And this is during the war, and I just could see something in her eyes that this is her child, and she's now going to the army. And I thought about my 2 boys, if I ever moved to Israel. And I thought about Akedah Yitzhak, something we read every Rosh Hashanah, which I'm going to speak about. We often ask ourselves the question, how could Abraham offer up his child so willingly? But then I look at my friends in Israel, and they do it every year. They offer up their children. They put them into the army. You hope they'll be fine. You hope that they will come out just as they come in. But sometimes they don't. And you have to be prepared for that. I am not. I'm freaking, just as I was freaking out about my son going to the hospital over a stupid little tonsillitis. I was not going to go into the bomb shelter because I wanted to hear the doctor explain everything that my son was going to be okay. How can I willingly send Ari and Alex off to the army? I think about that, but my friends do. They do so willingly.
Did you know Netanyahu's brother was
Yonatan.
killed in Uganda?
Entebbe.
In
Yes.
Uganda?
It was fascinating.
He was the only one killed there.
He's the only one killed on Entebbe because he was protecting his unit. And that is something that all 56 of these young men who died in the war in Gaza, some of them are probably the best that our society could ever ask for. They were smart, they were willing, now they're gone. Once again, I don't have an answer, but this is what the transformation of the Jewish people looks like. And it's something that we sort of, instead of sending our child off with a quill in his hand, we're sending him off with an M16. And that is also something we have to ask ourselves, is this what we want as well? For that, I will close with that little thought. What does it mean to be a living people? As Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai said, to be a living people means you must live. You must alter. You must also live the way you want to live. Whether you pick up a quill, you pick up an M16, the important thing is you must be able to live as the people you are supposed to be. And I will close with that. Any questions before we conclude? And please take a red velvet cupcake for the road. Yes?
I just wondered, do you have like a list of email addresses so that you can let people know when you're going to have your next?
I would be happy to actually, let me get a piece of paper, everyone come around, and we will put you on the mailing list. Put your name, before you leave, I promised I would get everybody's name and address. So we'll do that. Let me get a piece of paper. Actually, Lonnie, or do we have a pen and paper so we could go around the list?